Welcome to the Fediverse podcast, a podcast about the challenges of building a new internet. I'm your Fediverse host, Paige, and with me from a
sweatshop.
So, what are you working on? Making flags, dresses, children's clothes?
No, this is Roxanne's fabric collection.
It makes it look like Fediverse is not doing very well. You've had to find another enterprise to start.
Yeah, we're gonna make fashionable tote bags.
So there was a comment on a video the other day that was like, guys, can you get to the point and stop talking about swimming and bodybuilding?
I mean, those are on YouTube, right?
The comments on YouTube are a little bit more like, stop talking about not the exact thing that's on the title of a video.
But that was for the Google video, I think.
Yeah, that one got quite a lot of views on YouTube.
Yeah, I think it's just because we said Google, and then people were like, I'm having trouble with my SEO too. I want to know how you fixed it. Like, they thought it was kind of a instructional video on how to fix SEO.
It's just like two guys talking about like having issues trying to get a lane at the swimming pool and your experience with your bodybuilding.
My bodybuilding.
So, Victor, we need to cut down on the amount of non-essential conversation and get straight to the point.
I don't even know what the topic of today is.
Well, the topic of today's episode is the solo instance problem.
I wouldn't say it's a problem. It's a situation.
Okay, it's the most classic, Victor, semantic argument. But, okay, so what would you describe the solo instance, situation?
Well, I say situation because it doesn't mean it doesn't have to be negative. But the situation is that you have this kind of like baseline cost to running a Mastodon instance, and then you have to kind of have this burden yourself, and then you're alone on your server. You don't kind of get the benefits of having people bringing you content on your instance. You have to do this all alone.
Yeah.
Is that it? Is that the problem? I said problem. It's the solution, the situation.
Yes, it's a problem, Victor. Problem is the right word to use.
Okay.
Or maybe challenge. You could use challenge, Is that better? Yeah,
challenge.
The solo instance challenge.
Yes.
So I think this stems from a societal norm of like having exclusivity or your own thing is the kind of premium. A private jet, a private car, your own detached single family house. These things are kind of cherished in our society as like the premium option. And the Fediverse, it turns this on its head in a lot of ways. And one of those is, what is the best sort of server to be on? Mm-hmm. And it is not one where you're by yourself. And that's not just the cost, it's also just the experience, right? What's the difference between one person on an instance trying to discover content and, say, 10 good friends on an instance?
They're all like-minded, so you're kind of crowdsourcing your interests. You all have like overlapping interests, but also one friend might really like cars or whatever, so you're going to get a glimpse of cars sometimes, and then you kind of helps you kind of broaden your horizon. I'm guessing this is what kind of algorithms try to do with the bigger social media, but now you're kind of bringing it back to the source of, it's just me and my friends, and then I'm going to, this guy really likes this, and then sometimes I'm going to see posts about this because that's what he likes, but also you get to see a lot of posts that you all have shared interests in. It's kind of an organic algorithm.
That's right. It's like if you and I are on an instance together, we have a lot of like shared interests, but we have like very different things that we're into. Like, for example, you did astrophotography quite a lot a few years ago. But I'll still be like really pleased to see a little bit of that stuff because I'm like interested in what my friends are up to.
Yeah.
And at its base, that's going to mean I'm going to see lots of Canada stuff because we're both going to be looking at Canada things. I'm going to see lots of Fediverse stuff because we're both obviously really interested in that. That's the kind of like hidden thing. I think obviously we should also talk about the cost factor. That's not like 2 people equals $2, 3 people equals $3. Mm. The way that the server costs per user work on the Fediverse is a drastic reduction in price when you add a couple of people.
It depends on how kind of active you are So like if you're a big celebrity and you have a lot of people interacting with your instance, now your instance is going to work harder. But if you're just kind of like using it to consume content,
A lot of it, when you add a few more users, is mainly storage. You know, it's mainly that those people will have their own things they're following. And you might see kind of like a steady increase in the storage. Maybe like, say, one user might be like 20 gigabytes and two users might be 30. But it
hmm
starts to taper off at a certain point because if you are a group of friends with similar interests, you will be sharing the content cache with enough other people. So again, I just think it's the optimal server is like a group of people who are relatively similar. So a group of friends, a family, you know, a kind of cluster of people who instinctively you're like, yeah, that makes sense. That's a grouping of people.
hmm
Now, the consequences of this is something that we experience almost every day.
what I see a lot is people going like, oh, they make a Fediverse domain. They're like, okay, I like this, and then they use their own domain, and then maybe a month later they're like, never mind.
Yeah. They get excited about the Fediverse. You know, I've totally been there before, right? And gone like, oh, this is cool. I want to get into this. I want to really get into this. I don't want to just like be on mastodon.social. You know, I want to support it and I want to like make use of the things that it can do, right? So they sign up for that account and then they realize like, man, I'm not getting much help with my feed.
Yeah, it's you have to do the work to get like an instance that and as the content that you want.
Yeah.
It's a big burden when you're alone, and I guess that's why it's always better with friends. That way you share that kind of burden of finding the information and posts that you like.
How do you feel about like this as the ideal way to use the Fediverse? You sign up on like mastodon.social and you really aggressively look for stuff on there. You know, you search for tons and tons of things and you follow like crazy. And then if you're enjoying yourself, that's when you can create your own instance because when you migrate your account, you'll have done a lot of the discovery work over on mastodon.social. And ideally, when you're creating your own instance, you have found some people on mastodon.social that you might want to bring with you.
hmm
Then the challenge becomes like splitting the server costs. But, you know, you might just be like, oh, I'll pay for a year, you pay for a year, or something like that.
I think it's important also to say that we have a lot of customers that are maybe content creators and they just want to bring their content like they want to own it. Maybe journalists, they're photographers. They are not pictures. They are people taking pictures. And yeah, they just want to take back control of their content. And for those people, it's fine that they have a solo instance because it's their own base. It's like, this is me on the Fediverse and people interact with me through this platform that I control.
For sure. And like, I think PeerTube is a little bit more understood that it's like that. This is typically more of an issue with like GoToSocial, Mastodon. And so this is the thing. It's just about knowing what you're getting into. It's almost like I wish during the sign up process, you could say to someone like, are you sure?
And I don't think that would be good for business.
No, it wouldn't be. But like here we are making a podcast episode that's basically saying the same point. So
I would hope that if you're watching our podcast, you already understand this, or you would be like, that's okay. I know the risks.
well, actually, they may be a person who's making use of another option that's really great on the Fediverse, and that's joining a social media cooperative, right? That way, you get to put in your couple of bucks into helping the Fediverse grow, but you're doing it in a kind of pre-made group of people with like-minded interests. So in Canada, for example, Co-Social is a really great social media cooperative, but there's others that are kind of themed, like cooperatives built around different fandom communities, different geographies. And so I find that like is actually a really good option for people who have like, my heart is in this. I want to do my part. Have a look around, you know, see if there's one near you that you could join.
And it's not just about having a Mastodon server, especially co-social. Like it's a thriving cooperative. Like they don't just do Mastodon. They like people talk with each other. They have forums and everything. And it's all about like this kind of shared interest.
It's just automatically filtering for a certain like-mindedness, right? Yeah, those guys are great. I think there are more. I haven't really looked into other social media cooperatives, so I can't recommend them. But for sure, if you're in Canada, you've lucked out in having them. They're always like looking to add new things. Like they'll be like, oh, should we do PyFed or Lemmy? And they'll be kind of they'll set up an instance. So you pay this fee that's basically the cost of like a solo instance of one thing, and you get access to so much more. And it's that benefit of pooled resources. The Fediverse is just this, for whatever reason, some of it is like the code and the way that it functions, the way the protocol works, just really benefits from a group of people. You get this huge efficiency once you start to add more than one.
It's a social protocol, so social means you need people.
Yeah. This is a bit more of a like, hey, you should do this sort of a podcast than we would normally do. I know it's been on my mind a lot this week as I've been kind of responding to the couple of people each week that we get who go with a solo instance and then find it doesn't work out. But if you want to try out a solo instance, if you think you got what it takes, then jump on over to Fediverse and check it out. We have a 7-day trial. That's another thing I always want to say to people. They'll kind of message beforehand and be like, does it work like this? Does da 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 da? And it's just like, you can try it out for 7 days. If it doesn't work, you can cancel it.
And it's really easy to cancel. It's not like we refund you. We don't charge you. Like if you cancel anything, you don't have to call us, you don't have to email us. You don't want your instance. It hasn't been 7 days. You just shut it down and no charges.
I guess people sending an email don't know what our temperament is like, but it's like, yeah, we don't want to trap you in anything,
Yeah.
Anything else to add on the solo instance point, Victor?
Bring your friends.
Bring your friends. Another cool thing that you do sometimes see is someone making use of an old server. We've met a lot of those people doing kind of events like Activity in the Park and Pub. A lot of the time it will be like a person who's just really enthusiastic about hardware and DevOps. They've got an old machine and they have it in their house and they just do that out of like a passion, which is really cool. Like we're a managed hosting company that is like 2 thumbs up on people having a go at that sort of stuff. Like really the backbone of the Fediverse is that enthusiast community. So that's super cool.
People that use GoToSocial, they kind of always try to one-up each other because GoToSocial is so light. So they try to run it on like toasters and everything. Like some guy ran like GoToSocial in his car. It's like, oh yeah, my car is like connected to the Fediverse now.
Driving around, bring the Fediverse wherever it goes.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening or watching. If you're out there on PeerTube or the delayed version on YouTube. Let us know if you've had any experiences starting up your own solo instance and then deciding to team up with friends to make it a bit easier on the Pocketbook and on the algorithmic experience. And I'd be interested to know if you think this would make a good explainer video. Like, do you think that this would be good to package up into something that you can send to someone? Have you found yourself also trying to explain this to people? Because yeah, that's something that we might throw into the production schedule at some point. Other than that, we look forward to seeing you out there on the Fediverse. Bye.